It's January 26, 2011, and it's Jonathan Denis, Minister Jonathan Denis, the Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs. Did I get that one right, John?
You sure did, Stephen. Thanks for calling me today.
Oh, no problem. So there's a bunch of stuff going on in Alberta all of a sudden. What happened yesterday?
Well, yesterday I was actually at Arnold Schwarzenegger's luncheon in downtown Calgary, and I got an email all of a sudden indicating that the Premier Ed Stelmach had decided to step down. I was quite shocked, and then my BlackBerry started going off incessantly throughout the entire luncheon, just with people wanting further information.
Yeah, that can happen. What do you make of what happened?
Well, one thing about the Premier is that the first time I had met him was in 2001, and I can tell you that he's a committed Albertan, and he's somebody who will always do what he believes is in the best interests of this province. And I think he came to the realization that, in his view, he felt that he had to step down so that the province and the party should move forward.
Okay, well, tell me, was Ed Stelmach a good Premier?
You know, every premier has his challenges. It's not an enviable position to be in when your province, the world economy, has almost unprecedented collapse during your tenure. Government started running deficits. There's some definite strengths. I think one of the strengths is his healthcare reform. He's by moving to one healthcare region and the conservative policy behind that. Realistically, we've been able to save several hundred millions of dollars in administration and duplication. But at the same time, person could go with their positives and their negatives. But I think for the next short while, I think that first thing we have to do is thank Premier Stelmach for his 25 years of service. He first started as a town councillor in 1986, so I want to thank him for that.
Okay, in the next leader of the PC Party of Alberta, what are you looking for that wasn't necessarily present in this Premier?
Well, I think I don't like to really live in the past. I've always been more of a modern type of conservative, and moving forward, I would like to see someone who connects with the average Albertan and who has a strong vision for this province, but also is willing to wanting to get back into the black as soon as reasonably possible, and really build on the legacy of this party of fiscal responsibility. Moving into the last election, we had saved over $17 billion in the Sustainability Fund. We're the only province in jurisdiction in North America to have money in the bank, and I think Albertans want to see a continuation of that.
Do you think it's Calgary's turn?
Well, if you look at since the party came on, Peter Lougheed came on in the 1971 election from Calgary, followed by Don Getty in Edmonton, followed by Ralph Klein in Calgary, followed by Ed Stelmach just about an hour east of Edmonton. So if there is any science to what I had mentioned, that would suggest that a Calgary candidate would be viable. But I do think that there's going to be many candidates throughout the entire province come up. I've heard many different names, and it's really just too soon to tell, to be quite frank.
Premier Jonathan Denis?
Well, I'm very flattered, Stephen, and
well, I'm not looking to flatter you, Jonathan. I'm just looking for an answer here. There
have been some people that have asked me what my intentions are, suggesting that that's something I may want to look at. But my biggest priority right now is being successful. We have a sold-out fundraiser tomorrow. Getting through that successfully, and after that, I'm going to be consulting with some of my key supporters that supported me through the last election of the last few years, and want to seek their views as to what they would like to see me do in the near future.
Okay, who do you see as the front runners in the PC leadership race?
Well, there's anyone who goes to the Calgary Herald's website. There have been a lot of names speculated, but nobody has declared. I would suggest that anybody in caucus with a profile and a record would have a definite head start. But then again, you look at this province has a history of electing a lot of young leaders. This province has also a history of electing a lot of people who not necessarily have been involved in politics for a while. Like Ralph Klein, for example, had been mayor of Calgary. He was only an MLA for a couple of years before he decided to go and run. So I think in the next few weeks, you're going to see some big announcements come out from some of the people. The names put around, they're just on the Herald's website. I can repeat back to you, would be Ted Morton, Alison Redford, Doug Horner, some names that I've seen. And then, interestingly enough, Brett Wilson, a local philanthropist, had his name was around, and immediately after his name was tossed around, he came back and he said, "No, I'm not going to be running." I understand that former Treasurer Jim Dinning has also said he's not going to be running.
Do you have any preferences in the early field?
It's too soon to tell. I have to really talk to my own supporters before I determine what my intentions are and what my level of participation is here, and to what degree.
And do you think Danielle Smith should run for leadership of your party?
Well, we're an open party. We accept anyone who wants to go and run for leadership. But I think that she's already ruled out that she does not want to run for.
That's correct. Yeah, she has. Yeah. Do you think she would make a good premier?
Well, I've known Danielle since 1998. We met at a Fraser Institute conference. Whether or not she'd make a good premier, I'd like to see her full battery of policies. But my biggest comment to her and to a lot of my friends who have decided to join the WRA is, do we need two conservative parties in this province?
Right. Do you think the PCs would be better served with a right-wing leader to head Danielle Smith off of the pass, or do you think that a more centrist leader would be good to balance out an eventual election?
Well, it's I haven't seen any of the candidates drop their names yet, but I can tell you that moving forward, I've always describe myself as more of a small C conservative on the fiscal side, and that's something that I'm going to be looking into, who I decide to support or if I decide to participate myself. And I think that is what Albertans really want, is prudent financial management. Many people ask me, how much money you're spending on this, and this. To me, it's much more important to talk about the results that you achieve. You can spend X number of dollars and get no results. Albertans expect results. Albertans expect confidence, and they expect consistency. And I think that's the thing. Those are the attributes of a new leader.
What is your top of mind priority for the economy? Where do you see Alberta needs to go now that there is now a debate on its future direction?
Well, the first thing and foremost, I would like to see us move back to a balanced budget situation as soon as possible. We do have the sustainability fund. We are not incurring new debt at present, but at the same time, eventually that is going to go and run out, and I want to start building that again for future generations. In my own department, I'm very pleased that through our open and competitive bidding process, we've been able to significantly reduce our spending. Last year alone, we were able to reduce our spending in our department by 19%. And still achieve the results that were required.
Okay, and the leadership race. Do you think that the PC party has a benefit in being able to attract new members? They can buy memberships whenever they like, even on the convention floor, or do you think that there should be a more restricted membership process in order to have people that are committed to the party to become members of the party?
If I could just correct one thing, actually, in the last couple of conventions, we have had a final convention, a final meeting, but it's not a delegated type of convention like you've seen federally. I believe the last one that comes to mind would be Stéphane Dion's convention back in 06-ish.
Right, he was a compromise candidate as well.
True. No, but I'm saying that what the some parties will have is they'll elect delegates from each constituency or riding, and then they go vote at the convention. That's not how it works in our party. What happens is all of the 87 constituencies now will have open polling booths, and people who have memberships can go there and vote. I like that type of grassroots participation. It's not elitist. It's very down to earth, and I believe that everybody who is a member of the party should have their voice heard, and I want to encourage as great a participation as possible. That's the type of grassroots.
Now, I just ask if the model that lets members buy memberships between votes, do you think that's a good model for selecting a new leader?
I think it always, the more open that you can make it, the better. We want to be responsible to our membership, and at the end of the day, some people have said to me, it's about making money or whatever. Memberships are $5. I don't think that the party makes any money off of it, but rather I like the open process because it enables people to participate on a grassroots level. That's one of the things that attracted me to this party. Is I've always I showed up at a convention in October of 2000 when I had just moved to Calgary. Not knowing anyone, and I could sign up. It was open, and that's how I became a member. So I think we should encourage that as well.
Now, I should ask, in the wake of Premier Stelmach's resignation, I mean, he'll still be serving for a while. What can you tell me about this caucus uprising. I mean, there was this rumor that about half of caucus was looking to move in a new direction. Can you comment on that?
I'm not going to comment on specific caucus discussions because they are confidential in our party, as they are in others as well. But when you have a 67-member caucus, there's always going to be some discussion. There's always going to be some dissenting opinions. I've never felt muzzled. Some people have suggested that they did. I've never felt that I can't speak my mind in caucus. In fact, in the past, I've even spoken publicly against some policies that I didn't agree with, and in fact, I wasn't punished. And I think that's the type of culture you want to encourage in a party.
Okay, now let me ask you. I asked this of Danielle Smith as well. What do you think the PC Party of Alberta wants to put in the front window for the next election? How will you be defining the ballot box issue?
I think it is too soon to tell. But if I were to gaze into this crystal ball that is not in fact in front of me, I would suggest that we want to talk about competent management of the economy. We will have a new leader. The element of change will be on our side, and the new leader will have a reasonable period of time to strike his or her particular brand on the party and what we actually want to go and see. One of the things I find is very effective on a local level is I always try to look in the lens of the average Albertan. It's very easy to get what I call dome syndrome. It's very easy to just talk to your friends who are involved in politics, but in reality, that's a very small cross-section of society. We are the party of the average Albertan, and I think that that's something that we always need to highlight as well.
Okay, well, Minister Jonathan Denis, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to chat with me tonight.
It's my pleasure, Stephen. Good to see you.